Hello and welcome to the second edition of Gareth Jones on Speed from our trip to the 2012 24 Hours of Le Mans. Today's Friday, it's a quiet day at the circuit. There's the drivers' parade tonight, but the thing to do in the day, if you like cars, and I know you do, is to go to a classic British welcome. The classic British welcome is in Saint Saturnin, a little town about 9 miles away from Le Mans, where a whole host of lovely cars turn up for a bit of an impromptu classic car show. And we turned up in our Lexus CT200 F-Sport and got waved through into the exhibitors area because it was interesting and no one else had turned up in one, they said. So we're parked alongside an old Humber Super Scepter and we're a couple of feet away from a Porsche 944 Turbo. So even if Zog isn't here, he's here in spirit with his car. Okay, what else we got? An Aston Martin DB7. We've got a DB9 being polished at the moment. Is this yours, sir?
It is, yeah.
This is lovely, isn't it?
It is, yes.
So how many times have you been to Le Mans? You look like the kind of person who comes a lot.
This is my 5th year. I came the first year for a 50th birthday one-off. I came the next year, the next year, the next year.
That's
Here
what
I
happens.
am again, yes, and I've got caught, I've got the bug.
Yeah, it's exactly that. It becomes like a religious experience. You're going to go back to Mecca, I think, haven't you?
Absolutely, yes.
And how long have you had the DB9?
5.5 years.
How much do you love it?
I'm polishing it now, I'm wiping the rain off it. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, you love it. You've got to keep it shiny. Are you a lifelong Aston fan then?
I've liked Astons for a long time, then I was fortunate enough to be in a position to buy a nice car. I looked at the Aston, fell in love with it and bought it.
Is this your first Aston?
Yes.
And what did you have before this?
Lexus IS200.
Yes.
I did have in the States, I had a Chevrolet Camaro Z28. Not quite in the same league, but nice and throaty, but V12 is what I wanted. And
are you following the race? Who are you supporting in the race? Have you picked any on?
Aston Martin.
Yeah, I thought that might be the case.
And Toyota because of the Lexus.
Yeah, good on you.
I think it's the Lexus is racing, not a Toyota.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know why they didn't brand it Lexus, because they're introducing hybrids across the board in the Lexus. We've arrived in a Lexus, that CT200.
Yeah.
We got invited to display with the nice cars.
Excellent.
What's your name?
Robin Marriott.
Gareth Jones, lovely to meet you.
Am I on radio?
You're going to be on a podcast.
Oh, right.
Called Gareth Jones on Speed, which is all about cars.
Right, great.
Lovely to talk to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You see, everybody is like that here. Everybody. You can strike up a conversation with people, often at a very high level. We were in the bar at the Travel Destinations campsite last night, and the level of conversation, oh my God, there's a Maserati Gran Turismo. It's black. You know how I feel about that car. Pininfarina. Now, Chris Burdick from automoblog.net is travelling with me, as you know, and Chris has been staring at the supercars. Hey Chris, what do you think of the classic British welcome?
It's quite interesting. Coming from an American perspective here, it's funny because you see a lot of cars like the Mustang and the Corvette that we see every day that people think are really special here. So it's kind of funny, but at the same time, there's a whole lot of cars that I've never seen before in my life. So I feel like it's kind of coming to my first car show without knowing very much about cars in a way.
Is there one car here that's got your eye that you want to take me to and discuss and tell me why you like it?
Have a little bit of a look around a little bit more. I was going to see if that F430 Scuderia was here.
You like your supercars. Tell me about automoblog.net. You do a lot of supercar stuff there, don't you?
Yeah, we really try to focus on the enthusiast cars. A lot of supercars, but a lot of times just cars that people are into that's really not even that special.
What do you specialise in then?
I pretty much talk about sports cars, so any chance I have, I'm going to do a supercar. A lot of other things, like I'm a huge enthusiast of Japanese sports cars, things like the Nissan 300ZX, Toyota Supra, enthusiast cars like that people really get into that aren't even that expensive, I really enjoy.
Let's have a look at these Ferraris here. Yeah. We've come over to an area where we've got, what's that, a
360 Modena.
360 Modena. You see, you're quicker than me with these Ferraris. In red, which is the right colour.
Naturally.
Right-hand drive with the registration V8 Bugs. Well, it's V88 UGS. It looks like bugs. I would imagine that thing probably collects a whole bunch, as you guys might say, of bugs on the front.
If they drive it like they should, yeah.
Come on, what's this over here? What? Hello?
Maserati Gran Turismo.
I just saw the wheels there. I was looking at a black one over there, but this one is in gunmetal grey.
Yeah,
it's the grill.
Grey, yeah.
No, I wish you could see the grill. We'll take a photo of it for you. It looks like it could eat you alive, and it looks like a Maserati in that grill. You know, a Maserati of the 1960s, perhaps.
It does. It looks great.
Yeah. All right, what else we got behind us? An Audi R8. You're very fond of the Audi R8. Or do you prefer the Gallardo?
I actually prefer the R8, believe it or not. I like the Gallardo, but I like the R8 in that you can get in it, and if you want to drive it like a regular car, it's just as easy to drive comfortably as it is at the limit.
Have you driven the Gallardo?
Yes, I have. I've driven the Gallardo Superleggera.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was a little rocket ship. I love it, but as an everyday car, I think I would prefer the R8.
That's generally what people say. It's tremendously usable, isn't it? Let's go and see something that's perhaps a little less usable over here. Let's go and look at some of the classics. Whilst Chris is well up on the modern-day supercars, I like those, but I get a sense of affection for the older classic cars. Maybe I'm getting older. For me, it's my childhood, perhaps, that is, I'm seeing here. The theme at the Classic British Welcome this year is Triumph, and there are a high number of Triumphs here. There's a TR3A, which my mate Tim used to have, which I used to drive. There's a Lotus Elise Sport, it says, in orange. Very sweet. Is that a Series 2? It's a Series 2, yeah. Oh, what was that? Oh. Not sure what that was. It was from about early 1920s, I would say. Not a Rolls-Royce, not a Bentley, but a real vintage car.
There's been quite a few of those going up towards the cavalcade. That's another one of those. I'm not quite sure what a good majority of them are, but they're very interesting to look at.
There's a Mini here. There's always a Mini here, this being the Classic British Welcome. We'll find the Triumphs there. There are the Triumphs over there. We'll go and look at the Triumphs in a moment. But there's a nice white Mini. That's interestingly badged as well. It's that badge on the Mini that they used for a very short while in Europe before it was rebadged a Rover, I think. Let me just have a look on the back. See, I don't think this is a Rover Mini. No, it's just a Mini. Yeah, it was weird when they badged the Mini Rover, wasn't it? Oh, that's an MGA, I think. A red MGA, which my mate Tony Morton was in the RAF, and he was based up in the north of Scotland on an island somewhere, and he had nothing to do through the long Scottish winters, and he found an old MGA and he rebuilt it from scratch and drove it back from Scotland. It arrived immaculate. That was his winter project.
What a cool project.
Yeah, elegant car. Now then, here we go. Here are the Triumphs. They're not all Triumphs. We've got a TVR Tuscan, which I know is going to make Chris very happy. There's a Lotus 340R, an MG Magnet, a Lotus Esprit Turbo in white, second generation, not the amphibious first generation, as you know. Another Lotus, it's an Exige, a Spitfire, another Spitfire in green, one in red, another one in green. American car, Chris, what's this, do you know? Olds?
Oh, it looks like an old Cadillac, doesn't it?
Is it a Lincoln? This is terrible. We're reduced to reading what it says on the back of the car to identify it. It's a vast... it's a Continental. It's a Lincoln Continental. From 1970, perhaps, I would say. A vast white barge of a thing with what we call suicide rear doors. What do you call those?
Call those suicide
doors. Yeah, right, okay. They've got another name as well, and they're like courtesy doors or something. And it's parked next to an E-Type Jag 4.2 Coupe, Series 3, I think, if I recall. No, not a Series 3 at all. No, Series 2. And then there's... Austin Healey 3000 ME, and another one in red and cream alongside it, which makes my knees go. Next to it is an MG TF, which I drove a replica of. Naylor used to make an MG TF, and that was the first time I'd driven a car where you sit over the rear wheels, and it gave me a real sense of driving something rear-wheel drive. I learned how to drive from driving one of those. There's a Caterham 7. You like your 7s, don't you, Chris?
I do. We just saw a few of those on the road that we were talking about. Very cool cars. You've had the chance to drive one, I haven't yet.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to get a chance to.
I was telling Chris earlier on, my mate Jerry has got a 7, an original fried egg steel wheels from the 1960s. But Jerry's a bit bonkers. He also owns a tank. He really does. Oh, now this is interesting. Renault 5 Turbo. And by that, I don't mean the turbocharged front-engine, front-wheel drive one. This is the mid-engine supercar. They were a real handful. Rocket ship. Nice. You seen one of those before?
I've never seen one of those before, no.
What they did, they took what you call the Renault Campus, I think, in the Le Cinq.
We don't have Renault.
You did have the Renault 5 in the States for a while. It was sold as Le Car. Really? You did, a long time ago.
That's a little bit out of my expertise.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. It was about 30 years ago, because Renault bought American Motors and remarketed a lot of their cars as American Motors cars in America before the collapse, and they re-engineered some of the cars. But the Renault 5 was the little lightweight hatchback, like the Fiat Uno, like the Golf or the Polo, smaller. But this is a monster. I can't remember what engine went in it. I'm sure someone listening to this will text me.
It looks awful, but it looks like it's going to move really fast.
I think both those things are true. It does look awful. Look at it. It's not elegant in any way, is it?
A little box on wheels.
In fact, if we ever did a thing on Gareth Jones on Speed Forward, what is one of the most awful-looking great cars ever? The Renault 5 Turbo, the mid-engine one, could well be it.
Part 2. Gareth Jones Speed. Welcome.
All right, let's go look at some more British cars up here. Parked next to that Lotus 340R is an MGB GT V8, which was part of a very long, complicated joke I used to tell when I was a kid. The 340R looks really battered, like it's done a bit of track day stuff. All the paint is worn off the spoiler at the front. Do you know this car, Chris?
No, I don't actually. I was going to ask you what it was.
It's the Lotus 340R, I think it was called, which was based on the Elise underneath, but they stripped away as much as they could, true to the Lotus philosophy of add lightness.
It looks fantastic.
It's a spacecraft, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's almost an open-wheel car. They have these little fenders, I think you call them, over the wheels, and they poke out from the bodywork. Someone once pointed out to me, Violet's mum in fact, that she liked these cars, and it looked like it was a trainer. It looked like something you might wear on your foot. I think she was right. MGB GT V8 and a man polishing it. Let's see if I can get a word. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. Can I talk to you for my podcast about your lovely V8?
Our car?
Yeah. Is this yours?
Yes, it is mine.
You're not polishing it for a friend then?
No. My wife's not here today.
How long have you had this?
6 years.
And was this the car you always wanted?
Yes, I had a MGB Roadster, British Racing Green, wire wheels, chrome. And I bought this instead of that, and everybody said, oh, why? But good, V8's lovely car.
It didn't have the Rover V8, this engine, did it?
Yes.
It was the Rover V8, the Buick block originally, wasn't it?
This is a Land Rover spec engine.
Right.
Oh, sorry, Range Rover spec.
Range Rover spec, that's right, that's what they did.
Yeah.
From what year? 76?
76. This is one of the last 100 V8s built.
Wow.
In 76. They built them from 73 to 76.
They have a reputation as being a little unreliable. What was it that went wrong with them? Transmission?
Gearbox.
Yeah.
They got an MGB gearbox.
You put in how much through that gearbox?
135 brake horsepower.
It's too much for an old MGB gearbox that had, 80 normally or something, didn't it?
Yeah.
And what's your name, sir?
Bob.
Bob. Gareth Jones. What's your last name?
Gareth Greaves.
Bob Greaves. And it's great in the black and gold. It's perfect, sir.
Yeah, we'll be at Bewley in September.
Oh, really?
Big party at Bewley.
Okay.
All the MGBs in England are all going to Bewley.
Oh, really? Well, that's something for the diary. Thank you very much indeed.
Okay,
cheers. We were talking about...
Right over the TVR.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Thank you,
Chris.
thank you.
Go on then, tell us. Do you know what it is?
Oh, no, we don't have TVRs. It just looks really cool. It looks like, hold on. Tuscan.
Tuscan. I think you're right. Is it the Tuscan?
Let's find out.
Yeah, go and have a look. I'm never certain where my TVRs. I used to be able to do that, but I'm out of date now. There was a point at which there was a new TVR every week. Tuscan, good lad.
It's a Tuscan.
Good lad, you got it. In blue, being polished.
Absolutely gorgeous.
But next to it's a real curiosity, a Grinnell TR8. The Triumph TR7 evolved into the TR7 V8 for rallying. Then eventually there was a road car with a V8 engine, basically the same engine that's in that MGB V8 there. But this has been fettled by Grinnell. Grinnell are the people who make the Scorpion three-wheeler, who I'm very fond of. And I'd forgotten that they did this. This is a real 70s thing, isn't it? Pretty, in red. Convertible as well. So, triple rare. Yeah, it's in good nick. Pardon?
TR7 mats.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you can buy mats with TR8 written on them, I don't think. You have to get the TR7 ones, more likely, from the Triumph Club of the UK. Oh, here's a Jag Mark II in white, parked next to a Spitfire in brown, French registered. And, French registered green Spitfire with a Welsh Dragon on the boot. Fantastic. Another Spitfire in maroon. Another one, the Mark IV in red, French registered. Blue Spitfire. A lot of Spitfires here. Another Triumph TR3. Spitfire Mark III in green. And another one. God, GT6. Oh, GT6, very much a sort of the coupe version of the Spitfire with a straight six. But they were a lot of trouble. A lot of bother. Okay, this is fantastic. Another Spitfire. And another Spitfire in red. That was a green one, a red one. Another Spitfire Mark III in red. Another white TR3, or TR3A. A green late Spitfire. That one, look at that. It's got a completely different bonnet. That was one of the very last Spitfires built with those wheels. You'll recognise those Triumph wheels. Sorry guys if I'm geeking out here for you in a big way, but I feel I'm amongst friends. TR6. I drove to Cornwall in a TR6 once. Didn't break down. Spitfire, one of the last Spitfires. Another Spitfire Mark IV. So that's a Mark IV with a different boot. That's right, yeah. Ooh, a Spitfire 4 from 62. That's a earlier version. I'm almost completely ignoring the, how many? 60 hogs parked on the left. Harley Davidson are taking part in the drivers' parade this evening. And when you hear 60 hogs start up and go past you, that's a wonderful thing. They're all here. Sportsters, electric glides. Do you know your motorbikes, Chris?
I don't.
No, I know very little about motorbikes. Oh, there's a nice cream E-Type, yeah. Sorry, guys, we may have peaked here. It's just too nice, isn't it? Well, there's a Renault Alpine. I'm going to go and show Chris the Renault Alpine. I'll speak to you in a bit.
Part 2. Gareth and Classic British welcome.
Chris just asked me to give him a précis on the history of Triumph, and it's funny if you tell the story. A great British mark of lightweight sports cars, many of them convertible, that go way back to the 1930s. There were probably Spitfire pilots who drove those around England during the war in the 1940s. They went through a range of very little sports cars like the Spitfire, the TR series, TR1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, until you got to the TR7, which was a 70s car. And then the last proper Triumph, I think, was the TR8. And after that, would you believe, Triumph only existed with badged Hondas. The Honda Ballet, I can't even remember what it was called, but that was a tragic end to a story which, you know, began in Triumph but didn't end in Triumph. It ended in Honda. Just spotted a car which Chris and I agree on. I don't know if we could both agree that this is the greatest car here.
Probably not the greatest car here, but without a doubt it's one of the prettiest cars that have been made recently.
It is the Lotus Evora, but it's a version of the Evora I've never seen before. It's French registered. It's not the convertible. I thought it was a convertible. It's not. It's just got a carbon fibre roof. It's got a carbon fibre lightweight rear wing. It's got these carbon fibre sills almost like running boards, aren't they?
Yeah.
The anthill mob could stand on those that run between the front and the rear wheels. And it's
fiber splitter in the front.
a carbon fibre splitter on the front as well. And it says it's a Marcus Sport edition. So there must be a firm, Marcus, I've never heard of before. Marcassus. And their website is marcassus-lotus.com. And they clearly take the Evora and do something rather nice to it, actually, don't they?
I would say so. I'd drive it.
Yeah.
And it's for sale.
Hey, how much do we know? What's the price? Should we have it? No price listed. Okay. If they're not putting the price on it, Chris, I'm not buying it.
It's an 8C.
Say that again?
I said it's an 8C.
It's an 8C. There's an Alfa Romeo 8C parked here. It's been fenced off because these things are very expensive. They're incredibly rare. I'm not sure what the price is. It is in that sort of almost dragon's blood red that Alfa Romeo painted all their cars at the British Motor Show a few years ago. And seeing it in the flesh, that is a very rare and desirable car. That's tremendous, isn't it?
It's beautiful.
Do you think we could kiss it and get away with it without being arrested?
What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, I think we'd probably get applauded for kissing it because the people around here know how beautiful that car is. The only trouble is I've got to get through the fence to kiss it, and I think that itself could get me thrown out. So I'll blow it a kiss instead. Love the 8C.
We do kiss and run.
Kiss and run. That was the sound of a Dino going away. Oh. Just spotted a DeLorean DMC-12. We might get a sound of the, what was it called, the Duvan engine. Here we go, I'm running. There he goes. The sound of a DeLorean. Now that's a rarity. Love the DeLorean. So flawed, so wonderful.
That's it for Gareth Jones on Speed at the classic British Welcome, but our coverage of Le Mans continues with the build-up and the big race itself. Next on Gareth Jones on Speed.
To send us an email, see pictures, get song lyrics, or join our Facebook fan site, or follow us on Twitter, go to garethjones.tv. Gareth Jones on Speed is made in London by Whiz Bang.